Entering week 9, the Steelers were ranked 32nd in passing defense, that's dead last in the NFL, and 17th in rushing defense. And on top of that, they were currently on a 2-game losing streak to the Cincinnati Bengals, an in-division rival. They lost that game 33-31 with a backup quarterback in Joe Flacco, who lit them up with Jamar Chase, and the same with T. Higgins. Then the next week, you lost to the Green Bay Packers, 35-25. And the devastating part about both of those games, your defense did not show up. They could not put pressure on the quarterback consistently. They did not have a sack on Jordan Love. They could not stop the run, and the tight end position killed them repeatedly last week. And Deshaun Elliott, he went down with a knee injury last week. So you may think to yourself, the week 9 matchup is the Indianapolis Colts, one of the best teams in the NFL, statistically the best team in football. They only lost one game at this point in time in the year. They have the MVP frontrunner and Jonathan Taylor. It's going to be open season on the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, but it was the complete opposite. The Steelers bounced back in a huge way over the Colts, 27-20. And this is what you want to see if you are Mike Tomlin and if you are Omar Khan. This is the highest paid defense in the NFL. You had 6 takeaways in today's game. Now, let's not overreact here for a second. I'm not saying every single week the Steelers defense needs to come away with 5 to 6 takeaways. That's crazy. That's unrealistic. But if you can come away with a takeaway or 2 every single week, you give the football back to Aaron Rodgers with this 3 tight end set. You work off of play action. You get the football to Roman Wilson. You run the football with Jalen Warner or Caleb Johnson or Kenneth Gainwell, and you bleed the clock. This should be the momentum that should propel this team moving forward. And it is any given Sunday for a reason. But this is how the Steelers should look on a consistent basis for the rest of the year. TJ Watt had splash play after splash play in this game. He was a menace against Indy. He had a forced fumble. Whenever he got double teamed, here comes Cameron Hayward. Derek Harmon, who you spent a first round pick on. Alex Highsmith, he's making a lot of money. Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson in the interior of that linebacking room. On the back end of your defense, you are banged up right now. But you still have Jalen Ramsey. Joey Porter Jr., when he's not holding, he's a solid cornerback. And this is the one thing with Joey Porter Jr. I've given up at this point. That's who he is. He's going to have a bunch of flags to his name. But if he can come away with an interception, and he can make up for it towards the end of the game, like how he did in today's matchup, that's fine by me. And you have Darius Slay. And I'm worried about Darius Slay for the rest of the season. The last 4 games, he's been in and out of the lineup, dealing with injuries. He'll come into the game. He'll exit the game, dealing with injuries. He's an older player. He's 34 years old. But he's still a solid number 3 cornerback. And you have Brandon Echols. The last 2 weeks, you played a lot of man coverage. This week, you went back towards the zone coverage. Give Coach Austin and Mike Tomlin a lot of credit for that. And when the zone coverage didn't work, they switched the cornerbacks around and they used more man coverage into tighter situations. That should be the formula with the Steelers. Don't just run that man coverage all the way around. Mix in some zone. Confuse the quarterback on the back end. It was a beautiful play early in the third quarter. They came out into a cover 3 look, but it was actually cover 2. And it confused the hell out of Daniel Jones. He tried to put the football where he wanted it to be, on top of the safety. But he realized this is going to go for an interception. So he went down with a sack. That is beautiful defense on the back end. And that's beautiful defensive play calling. And if I'm going to call out Coach Tomlin and Coach Austin for how bad the defense looks, I have to give them credit for when the defense looks good. That was a very good play call by the defensive coordinator. And that was a very good adjustment by Coach Tomlin. This game was 17-7 entering halftime. They could have easily let the Colts back into this game. Similar to what happened last week against the Packers. You had a lead against Green Bay, but Green Bay came back marching in. And the way that they stopped the run, it was nothing special to it. It was the Colts offensive line going against the Steelers in their front 7. The best unit may win. And that is what happened. Jonathan Taylor only had 46 rushing yards, 3.2 yards to carry. You allowed a lot of rushing yards to the Bengals. You allowed a lot of rushing yards last week to Josh Jacobs and the Green Bay Packers, but you completely stopped the run with the Indianapolis Colts, and you made Jonathan Taylor a non-factor. This is the one thing about Jonathan Taylor. He's not going to go out there and kill you in the receiving game like a B. John Robinson and the same with Christian McCaffrey. So the Steelers realized early on, if we can just stop him and meet him at the point of attack constantly, we make him a non-factor, we put that pressure on Daniel Jones. And if we could tee off on Daniel Jones, we'll be in a great situation. Tyler Warren, very good tight end. He's a top 5 receiving tight end this season. He had 5 catches, 26 receiving yards. And he did, whenever he started to get some momentum, Peyton Wilson, get him one-on-one. Patrick Queen, chip him. Get into the quarterback if we blitz you. Peyton Wilson, that's your responsibility across the middle of the field. And it worked. And they tried to move Tyler Warren around, but it never worked out for him in their favor. Peyton Wilson was the best defender in this game, even though TJ Watt had great plays. TJ Watt had a phenomenal game. But Peyton Wilson stepped up in those big time moments. He had 13 total tackles, 9 solo tackles, 1 interception, 2 pass deflections. It was one play they blitzed him in front of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones just throws the football up. That constant pressure of Peyton Wilson made Daniel Jones play like he was back with the New York Giants. And Joey Porter Jr., even though the flags are annoying, he was the best player in the secondary today. I have to give him a lot of credit. But this is how the Steelers should look every single game moving forward. When you pay the people that you're paying on this defense, the amount of money that you're paying them, the amount of resources in this defense, a bunch of first-round picks, highest paid defense in the NFL, a lot of just resources. This is how they should look. But this game reminded me a lot of what happened a month ago against the New England Patriots when they had the 5 takeaways in that game. If you can come away with a takeaway or 2, that should be able to give Aaron Rodgers that extra boost. Now, offensively, it was not a great day, but they didn't need the offense to be great. We know that Aaron Rodgers can put up 25 plus points. He still has a cannon. Aaron Rodgers is still a very good quarterback. When a lot of people came out this offseason and they're saying, well, he's washed up, he's not the same. He just played for a bad organization with the New York Jets, and he still had a lot of good games last season in New York. He's had good games this season, but the defense hasn't meshed with the offense. That 3 tight end set, I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's old school football, but it's effective. With Pat, Jonnu Smith, and Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington has actually become a receiving tight end with the Steelers. I never thought that I'll see the day that Darnell Washington would be a true receiving threat in the open field. The first 4 weeks of the season, linebackers gave him little to no respect in the open field. So they'll run play action. He'll just leak out on the backside of the play action boot. He's wide open. And we know that he's not blazing fast. But if you leave him in one-on-one situations with a cornerback or a safety, he may stiff arm them into the ground. So he gets you extra yards after the catch. Now you have linebackers that carry over with Darnell Washington. Right underneath is Jonnu Smith, who is a speed tight end. And Pat is the more complete tight end out of both of them. He can block. He has better route running abilities than Jonnu Smith, even though Jonnu Smith is faster. And his hands are better than Jonnu Smith. To me, Pat is still the best tight end on this team. But when you have all 3 of them together, they give you something different. The speed with Jonnu Smith, the blocking with Darnell Washington, and the ability to just beat you all around with Pat. And you have DK Metcalf on the outside. Now, unfortunately for the Steelers, DK Metcalf is not having the same effect with this team that he had in Seattle. And it's not to say that he's having a bad season. Just in this offense, you're not asking DK Metcalf to go out there and to stretch out the field as much. And when you do ask him to stretch out the field, he's in double coverage still. This is why it's important to have Roman Wilson to step up, and the same with Calvin Austin. And I want to talk about Roman Wilson here for a second. He's had some okay moments. He's had some good moments. I don't know what the hell he was thinking late in this game. It was just an easy play. Get the football out quick, Aaron Rodgers. He gives it to Roman Wilson. He jumps in the air and he fumbles the football, and it gives the Colts a chance to come back into the game. That was a bad play on Roman Wilson, but I don't blame the fumble 100% on him. When you go up into the air like that and when you land down, anything can happen. You just don't want to see a young player take that risk. I understand what he was trying to do. He's trying to fight for the first down. You get the first down, that's more than good enough. He's in his 2nd year. He missed all last season as a rookie dealing with an injury. I'm not out on Roman Wilson, but I don't think that he'll ever be that consistent number 2 wide receiver for the Steelers. Especially not right now. And Calvin Austin III, I think that he is a consistent number 2, but at the trade deadline, still try to bring in a wide receiver. The run game was not great against Indy today, and that's okay. The Colts have a top 5 rushing defense for a reason. But you got the runs that you need to get out of Jaylen Warren and the same with Kenneth Gainwell, and we got to see Caleb Johnson. He's out of the doghouse after having that terrible performance against Seattle. So it's nice to see them get him involved. You don't need to touch the running back position. I still think that Jaylen Warren is still the best running back with the Steelers. Kenneth Gainwell had 99 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns against the Vikings. You're solid there. Hopefully over time, Caleb Johnson can be a very good, solid running back with the Steelers. But the offensive line with that jumbo set with those 3 extra tight ends, you work off of play action with the play action bootlegs, it's solid. I'm not worried about Aaron Rodgers. The only thing that I'm worried about with this offense is a number 2 wide receiver. Call the Saints about Rashid Shaheed or Chris Olave at the trade deadline. And that trade deadline is rapidly approaching. And a cheap plug here. We'll have a trade deadline video recapping all the trades that have happened up to this point, including a couple trades from this weekend. So be on lookout for that video. But right now, I don't want to get too excited about the Steelers. But this was a great win. You beat the best team in the AFC. You come away with those 6 turnovers, the 3 interceptions, the three fumble recoveries. Amazing performance. And I say this about every single team. If I'm going to cover them when things are going bad, I have to cover them when things go well. I don't want to be that part of the media to where I only cover negative things about a head coach and just say a bunch of negative stuff. If something positive happens, I'll cover it as well. But this was a great win for the Steelers, especially at home. Next week, you face the Los Angeles Chargers. And my prayers are with Joe Alt. I hope that he is okay. He's a tackle with the Chargers. He went down with a brutal leg injury. They're already missing Rashawn Slater. So that now may be a toss-up win with the Steelers. But this defense needs to be more consistent. But they're heading into the right direction if they can continue to make adjustments like how they did in today's game. But if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.